Yes! Oh, man, it's Friday night, and I'm here to talk football. And this is your first time here, you're new to this channel. Basically, the way it works is Dan Talks Football is exactly that. Basically, I talk football. I'm an expert on NFL betting. I'm an expert on NFL history. I am a Chiefs fan. Whoops, wrong side here. I am a Chiefs fan, but this channel is designed to talk football for all 32 fan bases. I can talk for 10 minutes on 10 minutes straight on all 32 NFL teams. Yes, that's right. I can talk literally 5 hours straight without football. But what makes this channel fun and what makes it interesting is some interaction, some back and forth. So I'd love to hear from you and what you think, what your opinions are. All basically on the live stream, anything goes, and all questions are answered. I am going to go over and give my prediction for every single game. Every single game for week 13. In the description below, I did a picks video where I made a prediction and I did my score prediction. This is something brand new. On the live stream today, I'm going to give you the 3 games I would bet on. I didn't make a separate video. I might do that later tonight or Saturday. Bottom line, I've just been ice cold when it comes to sports betting this year. I almost feel bad advertising my picks. Matter of fact, the 3 games that I would recommend betting on, I've been so bad, you may want to go just the opposite of what I'm betting on, and I go from there. But I'm going to give you the 3 games I would bet on. But full disclosure, with the holiday season coming on and me doing some holiday shopping, unfortunately, I'm not going to bet on the 3 games that I want to bet on. So I'll probably win all 3. I'll probably win all 3. But by the way, if you have any questions on sports betting that you don't get to today, you're listening to this on the rebroadcast. All my social media links are below. I don't watch as much college football as I'd like to. I do got a lot of college football in the DVR. Basically, the next 2 days, I'm going to watch a lot of college football. Try to figure out the matchups for, I call it the Final Four. I know it's not, but that's what it is. Got some great comments coming in. James, what's up, brother, man? Man, how you doing, brother? Very underrated matchup this week that I think a lot of national media are overlooking, and they shouldn't. This is a big game, and it's not a big game for this season because I don't think Jacksonville or Detroit's realistically in the playoff picture, but these 2 teams are 2 teams that are really ascending. I said this a few weeks ago, but out of all teams in the AFC South, the one with the brightest future is easily Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a team big time on the rise. And the thing with Detroit is that you have rookies on all 3 levels of defense. You have a very good offensive line. Amon-Ra St. Brown's proven me wrong, and being a number 1 wide receiver, there's a lot to like about the Detroit Lions. So, okay, Amazement, what is up, brother? I got the Cowboys for my survival pick. That's actually a good one. Off the top of my head, and I should know this, but off the top of my head, I think the Cowboys are the biggest favorite. That game, by the way, that game against the Colts is that's going to be a good game. You're going to sweat that one. A lot of people I think are thinking blowout, especially if you're a Cowboys fan. I think that's going to be a really good game. The Colts, they're not mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, but I mean, they're pretty much out. I think the record's 4-8-1, just right off the top of my head. It's 4-8-1, 4-7-1, I believe. I got ESPN up in front of me, but just off the top of my head, that's still a tough team, and that's a team that matches up very well, very, very well against Dallas. And this is why I don't do power rankings, because certain teams match up really good against other teams, and Indianapolis matches up really well against the Cowboys. But out I know that you're limited on your picks, so that's a good. I think that's a good one, and I hope you win. Hope you win. How we doing tonight, fellas? Funk's in the house. What's up, brother? Man, I'm doing great, man. I hope you are doing great. Lions Jags, yeah, again, great. That's a really great game, man. I'm going to star this. I want to come back to this because these are interesting. And one of these games I have action on. So Tim's in the house. What's up, my man? We'll find out Sunday, but I'm getting Ryan a ticket to the Las Vegas Bowl for Christmas, December 17th. He hopes MU gets that game. Crazy Tiger fan. I am still blown away that your brother lives in Henderson, doesn't gamble. It's kind of funny. I don't want to go into too much of your brother's personal life on the show. I've had him up on social media a few times. He seems like a decent guy. We've actually, believe it or not, me and your brothers met in person and just said hi. I wouldn't call your brother a friend, but he's a good guy. Next time I go out to Vegas, if it's an extensive stay, I'm going to I was going to hook up with him, but it was, anyway, he got married. He's one of the few single guys that goes out to Vegas and like 6 months later gets married. Anyway, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that, but his personal life's his personal life. But great Christmas present, man. Great Christmas present. Actually, I am curious, is the Las Vegas Bowl in Allegiant Stadium or is it in the old UNLV Stadium? They're two separate things. UNLV now plays at Allegiant Stadium. They worked out a deal, but they do have their own stadium. And I've been hearing that there's talk about, Allegiant Stadium's actually, the Raiders are trying to generate income, so they let UNLV and, they get a portion of the gigs, but because UNLV's football team is not a huge draw, there's been talks about them just severing that contract. That's kind of interesting. Okay, it is an Allegiant. Okay. I'm watching while I work. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. And I try to make this show kind of like a podcast, it's just me talking, Getting jacked up on an energy drink. I'm leaning towards K-State. It's at 1.5 now. It's funny because I'm glad I convinced you to take a look at K-State because I apologize. I got some stuff on my computer. I just did a update, and when it doesn't update, it activates several things, and I need to become more computer savvy. But I'll be honest. Out of all the teams in the BCS, what's it with the Final Four? Okay, all 4 of them have to play conference title games. All right, Michigan does, Georgia does, TCU does, and USC. USC is actually playing tonight. I got it on my DVR. As soon as the show ends, I'm going to watch USC Utah. To be honest, if you haven't yet, you probably can't now, but USC is a 2.5 point favorite, and I almost put action on that because I think USC is going to win big. And more important, actually, I like the over on that game, and not because of Utah, because Caleb Williams is playing lights out. I think they're going to try to win him the Heisman tonight. I believe he's the front runner. So let me know if you put action on that, and hit me up on social media, or you can let me know here. Out of all 4 of those teams, I like K-State the most to win. That's a good team. And I've watched TCU play several times. Nothing against TCU. It's a great story. I'm pulling for them. I really am. I'm pulling for them. They're not a top 5 team. They're just not. I've watched enough of them to know that they're not a top 5 team. So same old amazement. Just waiting on the wifey to get home from work to eat. That's awesome, man. I wish the line didn't drop for K-State. It's almost too much money. Yeah, a lot of people really like K-State. Nice. Well, I like what I'm seeing from the Lions. They're no longer. We got almost everyone healthy for this week's Lions game, and that's another thing is that I was paying attention because there's some interesting news on the injury front, and there's several injuries I wanted to talk over. I should have put it down in a spreadsheet before. I didn't get a chance to, but Travis Etienne, I believe, is going to be a full go for the game. He was banged up. That's a big one. He's playing some real lights out football. Travis Etienne's a player I absolutely love, and it really bothered me last year when he was hurt. And I'm not saying that's the reason why Urban Meyer got fired, but I know that Urban Meyer drafted him in the first round because he wanted it very creative with him. And then Doug Peterson in this offense it's a custom built offense for a guy like Etienne, who's got a receiver, runner, combo type. So if you don't know anything about Travis Etienne, he's a lot like DeAndre Swift, not quite as explosive. But I watched both a lot in college. Really was a big fan of both. Very similar players. Slight build, put on some weight since they've been in the NFL. Both have had injury issues. Both are 3-down backs. A lot of fun to watch, both those guys. So there's going to be some good players. They're still the kitten's butt, but at least that's funny, man. That's funny. I think they've shed it. I got a weird feeling we're going to lose to the Saints Monday night, too. This team, for some reason, has been a pain in the ass. I see a low-scoring, ugly game leaning towards under. Should I wait? Normally, the way it works, and this is just betting 101, when you want to bet the under, you want to do it as late as possible because everybody wants to bet the over. This game's an exception. You might want to wait now to bet the under. And that's another thing is that for some reason or another, the Saints have had Tampa Bay's number. Now, a lot of that had to do with just Sean Payton being an excellent coach. I think that they played earlier this week. If I remember right, it was week 2 and Tampa Bay won. Am I correct on that? But you know what? I normally don't do this, but I am going to look that up because I'm almost positive they played earlier this year. Yeah, they did. Okay, I was right. They played week 2 and they beat the Saints. So with Sean Payton gone, that might be part of it. But yeah, the Saints match up really, really well against Tampa Bay. You have a banged up offensive line, one of the best defensive lines in the National Football League. I like the under in this game also. I really, really do. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Saints win. I'm going to go over every single game. I'll talk about that one. 41.5. You know what? I apologize because I did a video earlier in the week, and I don't remember what the line was. I'm on DraftKings, and DraftKings has it at 40.5. It's probably dropping. If you're going to bet the under and you can get 41.5, that's a solid number. Only 2 are out. Which 2? Are they 2 starters or Jacksonville has 2 starters? Because I did want to go over some injuries. Yeah, LOL to entertaining kiddies. We were like that too under Jameis, under center a few years back. I remember those years. That was kind of interesting. The Lions are only missing a starting right guard and a backup. Sadly, J-Mo won't likely get to go till next week. Let me ask you this here. When if you just shut them down for the year? Just completely shut them down. Like, is that the worst thing in the world? Is that the worst thing in the world to shut them down for the whole year? So, and then after that, completely healthy, but I think Romeo's done. Yeah, I'll be honest. So he's been replaced by Pascal, if I'm correct. It wouldn't surprise me it wouldn't surprise me if you really go after some more defensive line, outside linebacker help in this draft. I know Funk really likes Jalen Carter out of Georgia. I was actually looking at mock drafts quite a bit, and that's kind of a guy that I would love to see in a Lions uniform. Like if I had to picture one guy that could come in and really transform the Lions defense, it would be Jalen Carter. And if you have a pick in the top 5, it may be hard to take Carter with a top 5 pick instead of trading down or taking a quarterback. But that's kind of a guy that, like, of all the draft picks for all the teams, like player and fit, like that just seems to work and make a lot of sense. And we're gonna do a lot of draft stuff here, but that's kind of the guy that I'm like, God, if he goes to Detroit, that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a good number because DraftKings has it 40.5. Week 2, okay, yeah, it was 3-3 for 3 quarters. I remember that now. Yeah. The Saints and the Bucks really hate each other, and if you've listened to me for a while, one of my favorite rivalries in football is the Saints and the Cardinals, or I'm sorry, the Saints and the Cardinals, Saints and the Falcons. The Saints have some really good rivalries. Saints and Bucks is a good one, but Saints and Falcons is one of those all-time great rivalries. Believe it or not, I'm not sure how old you are, but the Saints and the Falcons used to be in the NFC West, with San Francisco and the Rams. And that was always just one of the more bizarre things, that, having a team in the Eastern time zone in Atlanta. And I think the Saints are in the Central, but they're both playing in the NFC West. I always thought that was just really bizarre. And it was like that for a long time. But yeah, I remember that game. Yeah, they threw, I think Winston threw a pick 6, ironically, against his old team, if I remember correctly. And they got a late touchdown. But yeah, it's an ugly, sloppy game, and I really like the under on that one. Evan Brown, Julian Okura. Okay. Is Okura, is he starting or is it Pascal? Because I thought the last couple of games, I thought I've seen Pascal starting. I could be wrong. This is the whole point of this channel, is I really want to hear from what you guys think, you fans of your teams, not somebody who's obviously living in Kansas City. So now they wouldn't see him. Okay. And this is a response to Jameson Williams. Funk says that fans want to see him and he wouldn't care either way. To be honest, at this point, I would just shut him down for the year, not risk any injury, and just start with a brand new offense. And it would be a brand new offense instead of just trying to add things mid-season. That's what I would do. It'd be kind of interesting to see what happens, because I do want to see him play. It's looking like wild cards are shaping up for both conferences. AFC basically has 4 teams for 2 wild card spots. NFC basically it's Giants or Seahawks for the last spot. South winner hosts Dallas. Ooh. God, that would be a lot of fun. Pascal is a star. Julian always has been a rotational backup. Okay. Let me see here. AFC basically has 4 teams for 2 wild card. Yeah. And NFC Giants or Seahawks. Yeah, I actually thought for the longest time San Francisco may get that final spot, but I think they're in the lead in that division. But yeah, once the playoff picture comes locked up, Dallas looks like the 5. Dallas still has to play Philly twice. That NFC East is completely up for grabs. I'm pretty sure they have to play them twice. So. The NFC East is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I remember when we were in the NFC Central, a.k.a. the black and blue division. Teams I hated first were the Packers and the Rams and Eagles. Now it's the Saints. Yeah, Tampa Bay in the NFC Central didn't make a lot of sense, but that was a lot of fun, though. I remember Warren Sapp. He was not happy about it because he's like, man, I get to go against Brett Favre and Randy Moss. Now I got to go to the NFC South. Come on, man. The NFC Central. That was a lot of fun though. You had Warren Sapp and like Tony Dungy and those really good defenses, and then you had Randy Moss and the Vikings, a high-powered offense, and you had Brett Favre. On James, there's a few videos of him from practice running. Dude is insanely fast looking. That was kind of the whole point of drafting him in the first round. I wanted to see what he ran. Another thing that I'm not, it sounds like I'm picking on you guys. I was really concerned because coming into the draft, why was he just obsolete on Ohio State? Now, Ohio State had a bunch of wide receivers. They have a bunch of first round talent wide receivers, but he wasn't even getting any playing time, where other receivers were getting snaps at least, because college football, you rotate a lot of different players in. He wasn't even seeing the field at Ohio State. That's why he left for Alabama. And I'm curious why. And he looked really fast. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank here. 21 minutes in and I drew a blank. Okay, Ruggs. He didn't look as fast as Ruggs. All right. Ruggs looked like he was on a different speed. Waddle also looked a little faster, but I really was curious what Jameson Williams runs. Is he a 4.4 guy? Is he a 4.3 guy? I'm really, really curious. I'm really, really curious about that. I would like to see him. I'd like to see it. Keys is in the house. People call me crazy. It's not just smack talk, but I see a path where the Bengals don't even. Their schedule gets really tough. And that AFC North, I almost got confused. The AFC North is a pretty tough division. I mean, Cleveland just beat Tampa Bay. They're not an easy out, and who knows what's going to happen with Watson? We haven't even talked about that yet. Baltimore to me is still the clear-cut best team. Pittsburgh beat Indianapolis, and they're a team that's getting better. I don't know right off the top of my head. I have Baltimore winning that division, but to sit here and say the Bengals definitely no, the schedule's tough. Baltimore is going to win that division. And the one thing about Cincinnati is that they've always had injury issues. The offensive line's been banged up all year. You can't count on Joe Burrow to be healthy. You really can't. I apologize. The picture just got fuzzy there. I've been having some issues with this camera. It might be time to upgrade. But no, man. Seriously, if they win this game, we're having a different conversation. But the Chiefs beat the Bengals, which I kind of expect. The Bengals are really, they're going to have to fight to get into the playoffs. Now that said, fully healthy Bengals team in the playoffs, that's tough out. It really is. They're a dangerous team. They're a good team. And you know what the thing is I talked about this earlier with Colts and the Cowboys. The Bengals match up very well against Kansas City. They match up very well against Kansas City. That defensive line is fast. They're smaller. That's really been an issue against our offensive line, specifically Orlando Brown. He really struggles against those quick pass rushers. The Chiefs like to throw the ball. I think the Bengals are susceptible against the run. Kansas City doesn't like to run the ball. You got rookie corners against three really, really good wide receivers. There's not a lot of trios better than the Bengals when Chase is healthy. So, I mean, the Bengals match up very well against Kansas City. So, but yeah, there's definitely a scenario where the Bengals don't get to the playoffs. Those ugly ass jerseys. Yeah. The creamsicle jerseys. I remember those. I remember when Tony Dungy I first heard that Dungy wanted to change it. And I'm always like, God, why do you have to change it? And I saw, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, no, that's cool. That's cool. All right. Must be snow in hell because me and Keys are completely agreeing here. Ravens schedule these last 6 get so much easier while the Bengals gets a lot harder. I think Baltimore wins the division and Bengals have to fight for a wild card. Yeah, absolutely. I know you're lower on the Chargers, but their schedule gets easier too. I think Sunday is almost a must-win for Cincinnati. I'm low on the Chargers. Number one, they're banged up. I don't have a lot of faith in their coaching staff. They can't stop the run. But talent-wise, it was funny. There was an article, I think it was the NFL Network, and that was talking about all the quarterbacks from 2020. And I was like, all right, I'm going to look at it. I was really surprised because they got it right, and they had Herbert at number 1, and that's who it is. If you had to rank Herbert, Burrow, and Tua 1, 2, and 3, I would put Herbert, Burrow, and Tua. Don't listen to those fans in Miami that think Tua is an MVP candidate. No. He should be mentioned. He may be like the way it works. You vote like 1, 2, and 3. If you said Tua was number 3, I wouldn't hate you. I would probably put somebody else there. But I was really surprised that they had Burrow at 1, which I agree with. I think Burrow out of the 2020 quarterback class is the best one. Actually, if I remember right, it was Herbert, Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and then Tua. If I remember right, it had Hurts over Tua, which I kind of agree with. We don't have any Dolphins fans here, but lots of Dolphins fans are clamoring for Tua should be an MVP candidate, which is interesting. But it's not really a must win because they play within the division still, but their schedule does get tough. Their schedule does get tough. Dallas already lost to the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. I think they win the next game. Packers loss may cost Dallas the division. That was a bad loss. Yeah, when they blew that 2-touchdown lead against Green Bay, I remember watching that game, and I'm just like, all right, Dallas going to win this one. And they lost. I was like, ooh. And did they lose against Philly? I'm going to take your word for it. I'm drawing a blank. But I do think the Eagles win that division. I do think Dallas makes the playoffs, and they're going to be a tough one, man. It's going to be a tough out. Keith said at the beginning of the season, got told I was stupid by few people, no one in here. Which comment? This one? No, yeah. I've been telling. If you're talking about the Bengals funk, you're talking about the Bengals. I kept on trying to tell people that I actually, to be honest, I think they're exceeding expectations. But I was trying to tell people anytime a team just spikes up like the Bengals do, they always come back down, and they've been very impressive. They have been very impressive. They're playing better than I actually thought they would. If that's what you're referring to, it's one. Me and you agreed on that. If that's what you're talking about. Walker really wasn't seeing the field until MSU, though. Yeah. So I didn't watch him too much at Wake Forest. I'll be honest. I don't watch a ton of Wake Forest. I know that there was a spike in Wake Forest a couple of years ago. I think the coach is either leaving this year or left last year. I don't remember the details, but they had like a spike where they finally got to the top 10 after Walker left for Michigan State. And they talked about him, and they're like, yeah, we really liked him. We said other guys. And then he goes to Michigan State. And for whatever reason, this happens sometimes. You get a player that goes to a different school and just explodes. And that was the case of Kenneth Walker at Michigan State. Kind of a shame. I actually thought Michigan State would be a lot better than they were this year. I'm sorry to rub that in, but this is a team I thought would definitely be ranked. And what was the record? 4-7, 5-6, something like that. Yeah. Dan the man, my boy Chad's in the house. God, Chad, I miss you, man. Me and Chad had a deal where we would hang out on Saturdays. We stopped doing that, and I miss that, man. I miss our Saturdays, man. That was a lot of fun. We would talk to Lauren at the Wooden Spoon. So we would go to the Wooden Spoon, great breakfast place, like less than a mile away from my apartment. And we'd always end up with the same waitress. I think she's got a thing for me, obviously. And she was cute. She was cute. I don't like dating single moms. I normally don't. I might make an exception. I thought about making an exception with her. I decided not to. But had a Bengals fan tell me their roster is as good as the Bills. Wow. Okay. You know what? If you're a Bengals fan, I could see that. But the answer is no. And the thing is, though, the Bengals roster starting wise is really good. Their depth is not. When they got Trey Hendrickson in free agency, that changed it big time. I thought it might be a bust because his first 3 years with the Saints, he didn't do much. And then his first year he starts, he had, I think it was like 12 or 14 sacks or something like that. And normally those type of big free agent signings don't pan out. He goes to Cincinnati last year, and of course they go to the Super Bowl, but he set a franchise record, 14 and a half sacks. Underrated player. Sam Hubbard on the other side is pretty good, but Buffalo's defensive ends are better. I love Logan Wilson, their middle linebacker. The other one, Jermaine Pratt's also not bad. Bills linebackers are better. Jesse Bates is really good. He's really good. Bill's secondary is better. And then offensively, Allen's over Herbert. Diggs is solid. If you told me Chase, when healthy, is better than Diggs, maybe, kind of. And I get Bengals fans, but no, it's not. I mean, I was completely objective. And just the starters, but their depth is really, really shallow. The Bills have a lot. The Bills' depth isn't great either, but the Bills' depth is better than the Bengals' depth. And that was one thing that I really worried about. So yeah, Jeff A., what's up, brother, man? I'm glad you're here, man. Glad you're here. It's good to have a Chiefs fan here. I know Keith's a Chiefs fan, but it's good to have Chiefs fans here. Keys, I was asking people, would it be crazy to see both Super Bowl teams miss the playoffs? And most people told me there's no way both would miss. Looks like it might happen. Yeah, absolutely. I with the Rams, I remember when they signed Bobby Wagner, and I was like, this could be really awesome or this could suck, because if they get just a few injuries, that whole team's going to fall apart. By the way, I was going to bring this up, and I didn't get a chance to yet. I was going to go over injuries, but there's no guarantee that Stafford's going to play this week again. And I've been going through mock drafts, and depending on the mock draft service, I saw earlier today 3, 4, 5, and 7 for the Lions using the Rams pick. I've seen all sorts of draft, but that's going to be really interesting once the regular season ends. What draft pick are the Lions going to get from the Rams? That's going to be a lot of fun. Chiefs have been up something like 49-21 and at half, in the last season's 2 games, just dominated, just didn't finish. I don't remember what they were up with the Rams. One thing is, you've seen the same statistic, is that Patrick Mahomes went down by 10 points, has a winning percentage of like 63 or something crazy like that. I think you've seen that, but yeah. And by the way, that it's just playing prevent defense. I have no problem when a team plays prevent defense. They better not let up against the Bengals. That is a team that has a surprisingly good offense. Don't be surprised if we draft a running back. Actually, to be honest with you, a guy that I'm circling in the second round, I don't think Denver Gator's going to be here today. Denver Gator kind of turned me on to him. Knew about him at Georgia Tech. Now he's at Alabama, something Gibbs, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up being a pick. But Jordan Robinson would be a guy that if you can get him in the first round, your second first-round pick, it wouldn't surprise me if you took him. And the reason why is that the only running back who's under contract for after or who's under contract for 2023 is DeAndre Swift, and you really need another guy. So I fully expect you to draft a running back. The number one running back is Bijan Robinson, whatever, the kid out of Texas. You haven't seen him play yet. I would love for him to end up in Detroit. That would be such a great fit with that offensive line and with DeAndre Swift. That would be awesome. It also wouldn't surprise me if you take one in rounds in the second or third round. So Bungo fans are among the least informed. They can be funny. Bengals fans just came out of the woodwork big time last year, and they were just surprisingly bad. I mean, this is really bad fan base. Absolutely crazy, some of the things I was hearing from Bengals fans. I really figured it. I was pretty high on the Bengals. Matter of fact, I bet on the Bengals under win total. I took the alternate bet spread, so I think I got under 10.5. But I was thinking the Rams would get back. Ugly jerseys. Keys, I watched Stafford for years, and when his blind side doesn't have a guy he just seems to struggle with, retired, had me thinking. Andrew Whitworth, I don't think people realized how well he was playing. I mean, he was playing at such a crazy high level. I mean, he's a guy that it's actually funny. When Whitworth left the Bengals at that time went to the playoffs like 4 or 5 straight years. They'd always lose in the first round. And when Whitworth left the Bengals for the Rams, the Bengals just completely fell apart. I mean, they could not do anything right. They drafted a couple guys in the first round, and they either couldn't play or got injured. And what the Bengals did, it wasn't a terrible philosophy. It's an old school philosophy. It normally works. It is get rid of a player 1 year too soon, better than 1 year too late. And they thought Whitworth at 32 or 33 or whatever it was. Let's move on from him. Now they drafted this kid out of Texas A&M. I can't even remember his name. Just raw as hell, but had all the athleticism in the world. And people assumed that he would take over and be a solid left tackle, and he just wasn't. It was a complete disaster, and the team just kind of fell apart. It seemed to be, it was just when Whitworth left the Bengals team just completely collapsed. Take a look at the Rams. I mean, Whitworth's really good, folks. I mean, I know he was 40 or 41. He was playing at such a crazy high level. And for what the Rams were doing, the Rams have a very the Rams offense is a very quick timing throwing offense. It's one of those quarterback gets the ball, just bam, 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 bam. And by the way, I'm kind of just piling on Denver here unfairly. That's the type of offense they're running in Denver, and that's what Russell Wilson doesn't do well. But a lot of it has to do with Whitworth, and they didn't have a plan really to replace him. They were just kind of hoping that I think the guy who played guard moved over to tackle, and they were getting a little creative, and they were really just hoping that the offensive line situation would work itself out, and it hasn't. I get that. It's good logic. I think for me, it was more about McVay plus still having their stars. And Bobby Wagner, by the way, I mean, it's funny because I'm going to release a video probably right before the playoffs start, top 10 Chiefs of all time. And if you did top 10 middle linebackers of all time, Bobby Wagner who knows where he's in the mix, but he might be the greatest middle linebacker to ever play. And nobody will say that. But when he left, he got a lot of money, but it wasn't the break the bank type of contract that you would expect. And I really thought that would have an impact on the Rams in the positive. Another superstar, kind of similar to Von Miller, except he was I mean, I'm not insulting Von Miller when I say this. Bobby Wagner his play really didn't drop, or Von Miller, you can see his play dropped. And I thought that might mitigate some things, because in that division, it's a run heavy division, and you have a stud like Bobby Wagner. You add to that, with you already have the best defensive player in the world in Aaron Donald. You have Jalen Ramsey, the best corner in football. I still probably consider him the best corner in football, probably. I really didn't think it'd fall apart the way it did. Good for the Lions. Speaking of stars, do you remember they lost two key guys in the playoff push last year, OBJ and Vaughn? Those are huge losses and no caps. But the main thing I was worried about was the no draft capital, because they really need some help in so many different positions. The defense is still pretty solid. The offensive line they need a complete overhaul on that offensive line. They need to get creative somehow. So, but Vaughn made them a Super Bowl team. Didn't see him as a need to make the playoffs. Losing OBJ in the Super Bowl still hooked. Still had Cup, etc. So I didn't put a lock in no OBJ. Yeah, I seriously, USC's up 7-0. They're probably going to win big. To me, it's losing Witt plus all the injuries. Witt was a massive loss. I don't think people. I say this all the time. Quarterback, then left tackle. And by the way, I'm gonna say this now just because I'm behind on comments. If you're thinking about putting action on the 49ers Dolphins, be careful. Trent Williams is the 49ers best player. He's their starting left tackle. He's questionable. All right. Trent Williams is the best player on the 49ers. All right. It's not CMC. It's not Deebo Samuel. It's not 85. God, what the fuck? I can't believe I forgot his name. George Kittle. It's not any one of their defensive stars. It's Trent Williams. He's questionable. Just when the Chiefs played the 49ers, Trent Williams came back from an injury. He was like at 60%. And the whole team didn't really function right. The Chiefs won in a blowout win. If you remember, I did that emergency bet alert. So if you do put action on that game, pay close attention to Trent Williams, best player on the 49ers team. Massive injury. Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams is going to be out. Bakhtiari, he was coming back to play. Had an emergency appendectomy just yesterday, so he's going to be out. That's a big one. Rodgers is going to play. Bakhtiari is not. Sorry, my nose is itching like a motherfucker. It is not cocaine. Big loss. I love Chad's in the house, man. This is awesome. It's so great to see Chad. Yeah, so me and Chad go to Wooden Spoon. That was a lot of fun. Still a top 50 recruiting class. Listen, when you're a ranked team, top 50 is not good enough. And to be honest, Ohio State and Michigan are having top 10 recruiting classes. Top 50 wasn't good enough. I thought that you had a better class than that. Penn State's actually been recruiting really, really well. And Penn State, okay, so Penn State has a stud left tackle. Some people are claiming he's the number one tackle in the draft, and he just released that he's coming back to Penn State. That could change, but I've seen a lot of mock drafts where this kid goes top 10, and he's only 20. Like, he turns 20 like today or tomorrow, and that could change quite a bit. But if he stays in Happy Valley, that's huge for Penn State. Yeah. So anyway, me and Chad, and she's kind of flirting with me and stuff, and I was flirting back. She's pretty attractive. But then she talked about her kid and how she's always doing stuff for her kid, and it's like, so. I got flirted on a chick that's in law school, so she knows how to use handcuffs. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Law school and handcuffs don't correlate. back and forth, but be careful with chicks in law school. And the reason why I say that is because the laws favor women. You don't want to be, I'm not even going to say it on the air, but EPAR backwards. Be very careful. Be very careful. EPAR backwards. Be careful. Big fan of Sean Tucker. Drawing a blank on that is. And Chase Brown from Illinois. We're going to do a ton of draft stuff. I'm not familiar with those guys, though. The problem with the randomness of the draft order, the strength of schedule, if you looked on Monday during the day, the Lions were 4th and it moved to 3rd. It'll continue. Yeah. It's also which draft service and which it's draft service and when also, week to week. And the one that was at 3 was before the Lions won, probably. Keys or injuries are an absolute dumpster fire. I didn't think it would be this bad. Yeah, he's talking about the Lions. That's going to be a great game. Top middle field passing game versus the best middle of the field passing D. Wrong, Michigan's class sanctuary. Depends on who you're looking at. I saw top 10. Michigan over the last several years has been nailing top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10. If you saw something that said 21, maybe. But, I mean, they've been locking up top 10 recruits for a long time. That McCarthy kid, their quarterback, was like number 1 player in the country. So to tell you that if you're going to try to tell me Michigan's not locking up top 10 talent, I'm going to say that you're wrong. Depending on which service you saw, did they have a bad year? Maybe. But John Harbaugh, the problem with him is that he could never beat Ohio State. But the reason why he was always going to be locked in as the coach at Michigan because he was locking up top 10 classes. So that's a good one. Sports 247 said 21. This, by the way, Sports 247, excellent source. But go back and look at the last several years. I apologize. I'm doing some adjustment here. I know nothing has happened though. Okay, good. Just I'm just throwing it out there. I don't want you to get in trouble. 14, 13. I got to DVR. Don't tell me. No, if you want to share, that's fine. That's fine. I got on DVR. As soon as it's over, I'm going to watch the whole thing. Girls that know to use handcuffs are scary. I'm kind of curious. Okay. This year. I know that this is kind of a weird season because, believe it or not, Michigan has a lot of players coming back. I remember they lost Charbonnet, and he's the running back at UCLA. They lost him in the portal, and that was kind of surprising because he's a running back I really like. By the way, he would be great. Charbonnet, former Michigan tailback at UCLA, he would be great in a Lions uniform. He's the type of guy I could see the Lions really kind of focusing on. He's a guy that I really loved watching play at both Michigan and at UCLA. And I think because he went to UCLA and played under Chip Kelly, it's going to help his draft stock. I want to know what he runs because you could tell he's definitely not a 4.4 guy. He's a guy that may have a terrible 40 time and just drops in the draft. Jim. Did I say John? Okay, it's Jim Okay, the Michigan coach. I think I said John instead of Jim Harbaugh. The comment about the consent is retroactively revocable. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Don't be EPARD. So don't be accused of EPARD. And by the way, in case you're not aware, you can't. That's like a YouTube red flag to say it. That's why I must do it like that. Been a weird, it's something that we're going to continue to see as the NFL wants to expand from 17 to 18 games. Is you're going to see more and more teams get more and more injuries. That's why I would love to go backwards and have a 14 game schedule. I think that's what the NFL should do, is a 14 game schedule with 2 bye weeks, have a 4-month regular season. That's what the NFL should do. They just keep trying to expand and grow. And I think just the opposite, because when I watch a Super Bowl, I don't want to see 9 backup starters. I mean, and that's kind of way we're going. And it's a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one. Denver Gators in the house, man. Yeah. I didn't tell anybody your picks. I actually got them on my phone. You've been picking some great stuff. Follow Denver Gator on social media, by the way. Great follow. What's up, peeps? Drove all night, straight through Denver to Mesquite. Can't stick around. Much love, man. Hey, man, Denver Gator. Thanks, brother, man. I appreciate the love and safe travels. Excuse me. Hit me up when you arrive safely. I won't tell everybody where you're going. That's up to you if you want to share. But yeah, safe travels, and hit me up. Let me know that you got where you're heading safe and sound. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to air your stuff out, but I'm glad you're here, and drive safe, man. Just drive safe, man. MSU will have 2 stout defensive ends next year. I hope so, because that whole Big Ten is going to be really fun. USC and UCLA join. I think it's next year, or is it 2 years? I don't remember, but it's going to be really interesting. The Big Ten is going to go coast to coast, and it's going to go north to south too. You got Rutgers. I think it's the furthest northeast the Big Ten goes. Yeah, I think it's Rutgers, and then you got Southern Cal. I mean, that's just crazy. It is just crazy, man. Lions nail free agency and the draft. We're looking at 11-win team in 2023. You got to do both. And by the way, in nailing the draft, you can't do something like Jameson Williams and draft a guy who's not going to play. And I'm not saying that's a terrible thing to draft a guy like Williams, but if you're trying to make the playoffs in 2023, you got to draft a guy that's going to help you. The Lions draft free agency is going to be really, really interesting, because what are they going to do? Because I think that you got to make some moves. I think you got to make some moves in the draft and free agency if you're Detroit. It'll be very interesting to see what they do and who they keep. Because I really think the Detroit Lions are going to make some moves, and there's going to be several players who start this year that are going to be gone in 2023. I don't know. At least with the injury reserve rules, the longer season gives some injured players a chance to play. Plus, the PA expansion elevation seems to be making so teams aren't rushing injuries. All those things are true, but I still would rather go with a 14-game schedule and 2 byes. Give me 16 weeks. Give me 4 solid months. I do like one thing the NFL's done over the years is just it made a lot of smart improvements, like the injury reserve rule. It used to knock you out for the year. Now you can be on injury reserve just 4 weeks. I think that's brilliant. I love how teams aren't rushing players back. I love how players aren't being rushed back. I think the expanded rosters, what they did with drawing a complete blank. Practice squad. Remember the practice squad? Yeah, you couldn't start a game, and it's already something different. God, there were so many different rules with practice squad. They changed it with COVID, and they decided to keep it. I love how you can sign free agents to the practice squad. I think that's great. If you see anything like this, chat bots, and you got a wrench, block it. Nothing against porn. If you want to watch it, that's great. I don't advertise it. Do not do it. So yeah. Yeah, give Denver Gator some love. Give Denver Gator some love. Hey, DG. Keys giving you some love, Denver Gator, man. All of us are giving you some love, man. Drive safe, man. I don't want to give out too much details, but do drive safe. I know you're driving, so it's really cool that you chimed in just to say hi and gave me a thumbs up. So feels that saying is repetitive at this point. Yeah, I know. He's talking about the Lions. Nope, 2024. Okay. USC already scored. Only day. All right. Now let's start breaking down the games. By the way, One Pride, do not forget about One Pride's OnlyFans channel. Man, great. We went from football to OnlyFans. It's that fast. Like I said on the live stream, anything goes. Except sex bots. Not allowing sex bots in my chat. Not allowing it. Let's start here. All right. We're going to start off. I'm going with DraftKings. All the point spreads are from DraftKings. DraftKings website's been a little glitchy, so I don't know if these are up to the date, up to the minute, or if it's a few hours earlier. But I had the screen saved, and the way it worked out, I figured this out. If you don't log in, it doesn't kick you out. So, oh, Jesus Christ. Did you hear about the girl? By the way, you're going to think I'm making this up. You're going to think I'm making this up. This is true. There is a girl on OnlyFans, and I saw this through, I want to say either Donovan Sharp or Fresh and Fit. I want to say it's Fresh and Fit. Okay, I could be wrong. Anyway, if you're not familiar with Fresh and Fit, they bring in all these OnlyFans girls and just anyway, it can be entertaining. But anyway, this girl, and by the way, she's a millionaire. This girl sells farts in a jar. And she has a video where she actually makes it, and then like she has a whole thing. I think she's in India, and she puts like a leaf and she farts in a glass jar and sells. I want to say it's like $1,000 a jar or something crazy. But yes, so like, and one girl sells bath water. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Fresh and Fit that had the girl on that sold farts in a jar. Only sex bots allowed would be the mail order one dance buys with the gambling winnings, even if they're even. I know, dude. Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah, and she's made millions doing this. I don't know if she's like a porn star or I don't remember that, but yeah, she would, and she went through like the whole process of how she does it, and yeah, it was to be honest with you, I was kind of impressed because it's like that's a marketing genius. And by the way, I would sell farts in a jar. I've never tried that. I heard about the bathwater girl. And then oh God. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of rant here because I saw this on social media. And then I'll get back to football on social media. It was Mia Khalifa and this other girl were on. It's been all over Twitter how they were shaming men for liking younger women, but it's because Mia Khalifa is like retired from porn now, and then got married and then was mad, and anyway it was a whole thing. But anyway, these women are they were talking about how men are disgusting for liking younger women, but they're both over 30, and I think it's comical that, you know, one was like a former model who just got divorced and she's over 30, and then the other one's Mia Khalifa, and they were, if you're a man and you like younger women, you're predatory and evil, and it's like, really? By the way, I like younger women. So, translation: men get really weird when they're. Well, yeah, exactly. There are a lot of national sports journalists who get paid to fart. Girls, dude, seriously, yes. The advent to when social media became mainstream, like it changed the dating scale completely. Average girls used to only date average guys. Now average girls can get on the internet and think that they're hot because they get hit on by other average guys. It's fucked up, man. I could go on a rant right now, but let's just get back. 100% true, one pride. 100% true. All right, we're gonna go back to football, hopefully. All right, first game, Tennessee at Philly. The line is now Philly's now a 4.5-point favorite. This has been going up. A lot of action on Philly. I'm kind of surprised. The over under is 44.5, and Amazement had this one, Titans plus 4.5. He likes the Titans. And I'm bringing that up because I also like the Titans. If you watch my video I got below, I actually have the Titans winning. I actually think the Titans win this outright. I would definitely take 4.5. This is one of the 3 games I like. I like the Titans to cover 4.5. One, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think this game's got like 21-17 written all over it, which I know 4.5 is kind of a stretch, by half a point, but my actual score prediction was 19-17. Both teams have good defenses. I think the Titans front seven's better than the Eagles front seven. And I don't know if the Eagles can stop Derrick Henry. I love the Titans to cover in this one. I do think they win outright, but even if they don't win outright, I do like Tennessee to cover 4.5. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I would also lean towards the under. Right now it's 44.5. If you do want to take the under on this game, hold off because this is going to go up. This is probably going to hit 45 right before kickoff. I love the way the Eagles play. I really do. But I think this is going to be a game that your statement's going to prove true. And it's also, I've been very high on the Titans. I know that Cincinnati's had their number the last couple of times, but the Titans are a very good team, folks. And this is one of those matchup nightmares because the Titans are really good at stopping the run and the Eagles want to run the ball. The Titans just match up really well. I love this game. This is my number 2 game. My number 1 game is this one right here. New York Jets travel to Minnesota to play the Vikings. The Vikings are a 3-point home favorite. The over-under is 44.5, and I love the Vikings. This is my number 1 game. And the reason why this is my number 1 game is that people are looking at the way Mike White played last week, and oh man, the Jets are transformed. Everything's safe. Listen, a backup quarterback is not going to save your season. I hate to tell you this. Mike White, there's a reason why he's not starting NFL quarterback. He's the reason why, even though he had some good games, Zach Wilson's going to be the guy. I know he did some stupid things and they may have to draft a quarterback, but starting Mike White does not transform your team into a Super Bowl caliber team. All right. Here's a guy that's not very experienced. I don't think the Vikings defense is that good. However, you have a backup quarterback and an offense that's going to kind of struggle on the road. Now, defense does travel, all right? And I think the Jets' defense against the Vikings' offense is going to be really, really good. Minnesota's offense is very good, and I like them at home. And ever since Dallas beat them, I don't see them having that type of relapse again. They could, but I love the Vikings here. I would try as hard as I can to get 3 or less. Don't take the hook. I'm leaning towards the over as well. Did you also have that? You had over 44. It's up to 44.5. It's up to 44.5. So I really like the Vikings here, and I'm leaning towards over because it's in Minneapolis, a very tough place to play. I think people are really overestimating the Mike White game, and that's why this is my number one bet. They're not terrible. Did I say that? All right, if you're talking about the Titans run defense is great. The Eagles isn't bad either, but they I know Jordan Davis is out. They've had some injuries on the defensive line. Derrick Henry should have a big game. If I said the Titans weren't good against run, I misspoke, and so I apologize. Next game, I just talked about this. David Bacchiardi is out. Aaron Rodgers is in. Green Bay. Oh, the Vikings. They're not good against the run. The whole defense really isn't good. That's one thing about the Vikings. I don't think they're really built for the playoffs because that defense really isn't that good. The defense just isn't that good. But Green Bay against Chicago. Chicago is a 3.5-point home dog. The over-under is 45. I checked the weather. It's not bad. It's actually going to be pretty good for December. Bacchiardi out's going to be a big deal, except the Bears defense is just terrible. Supposedly Justin Fields is going to play. Trevor Siemian is out. So if Justin Fields plays, be careful. If you are into prop bets, you may want to lean against Justin Fields under on the rushing yards. Last I saw was like 56.5. I like Green Bay here. I would not take Green Bay to cover 3.5. I've been wrong about Green Bay all year, but this Bears team is terrible. Justin Fields may not play. You have to go to your third string quarterback. I don't even know who that is. It's going to be a tough one. Yeah, they've had some good defense. I can't remember if that's the year Zimmer had the number one defense or not. I think Zimmer had the number one defense. So, anyway, I like Green Bay to win. Be careful because Rodgers is going to play. Bacchiardi isn't. Justin Fields is supposedly going to play. Simeon's out. So there's a lot of injuries here. I would avoid that game like the plague, but I do like Green Bay. Next is a very interesting one. Cleveland's going to play against Houston. Houston is a 7-point home dog. The over-under has been dropping a little bit. It's now 46.5. When I did my video, check it out in the description. Deshaun Watson was not guaranteed to start. He is going to start, and it's at Houston. I remember this is just going to be a weird one. I would not bet this game because you have so many unknowns. I actually like Houston to win in an upset. You could say this is going to be Watson's coming out party. You could say the Houston Texans are going to go after revenge. I don't know. I really don't. Don't bet this game. I like Houston to win. Yeah. By the way, Stafford, I was going to bring this up. That game's not even. Okay, it is. Stafford's questionable. I said that. Stafford's questionable. Okay. Next game's a good one. I talked about Jacksonville at Detroit. Over-under is 51. Detroit is a 1-point home dog. I'm sorry, Lions fans. I like Jacksonville. I love the way they've been playing. I like the fact that they won at Baltimore. This is going to be a great game. I'm actually really looking forward to watching this game. It's probably going to be on the replay. I think locally. God, I really want to watch Tennessee and Philly. I think the Bears and Packers are going to be on, and then Jets and Vikings. I could be wrong about that, but if this game's on, I definitely want to watch it. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a really good game. What other games did you have here? Okay, you had Texans 7. I have that one too. Okay, so the only one we got left is the Steelers. So. I know. I know. I told Funk this when I made my prediction. Funk watches all my videos. Funk's like, I like it when you pick against the Lions because I've been picking so bad this year. Yeah, I know. I'm fully aware. Not a game I would bet on. To me, to be honest, it's really it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game, and I apologize. Like I got something in my eye, like the left, like there's like this part's kind of blurry. It's really weird. Next game, and this line's been going up big time. Denver travels to Baltimore to play the Ravens. It's now 9.5. Earlier, it was 8.5, a full point. This is really unusual for a team that's been blowing big leads. The over/under is 40. I think that Denver's just falling apart right now. They're just playing. Denver just really wants to get to the offseason, in my opinion. I think Hackett is going to be done. The Russell Wilson experiments looked like a complete disaster. Baltimore lost a big one against Jacksonville. They were up 27-20. Jacksonville went down late in the game, scored a touchdown, then went for 2 in the win. Got it in a very gutsy move. I like Baltimore here. I really do. I think Baltimore's front seven is really going to be able to lock down Russell Wilson. So I like Baltimore. I don't know if I'd count on Baltimore to cover 9.5. That's a big number. But I do like Baltimore. Something just happened. All right. The Tennessee Philly game just went completely off. Okay, so all right, came back. All right, so point. Okay, so apparently my hack into not logging in doesn't work, so it still flakes things around. Okay, error on my part. Next up, Washington travels to New York to play the Giants. Giants are a 2-point home dog. The over/under is 40.5. I love the way Washington's playing right now, and I think they've won 6 out of the last 7. Giants, I know, have lost 2 straight. All the metrics lean towards Washington. I like the Giants here. So it's kind of weird because I think both teams get a bye, and then they play each other in 2 weeks from now in Washington. I like the Giants. I don't know why I like the Giants here. All the metrics lean towards Washington. That's pretty funny. All the metrics lean towards the Giants, or I'm sorry, towards Washington, but I just like the Giants here. I don't have logic. I don't have logic behind it. So Giants to win outright, even though they're 2-point dogs. Next one's a good one. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Atlanta's a 1-point home favorite. The over/under is 43. And I'm with you, Amazement. I like the Steelers as well. And the reason why I like the Steelers is I just think they're playing well. I'll be honest, this is a good game because Atlanta is in great shape to win that NFC South. They're in phenomenal position to win that division. Probably 7 or 8 wins is going to win that division, and you're at home against a banged-up team in Pittsburgh, and they're banged up emotionally, banged up physically. Pickett is learning how to play in the NFL. A Dean Pease defense against a rookie. Normally, I would take a Dean Pease defense, but Atlanta's beat up. I don't like their offense. This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be a fun game. I can't wait to watch it. I do like Pittsburgh, though. Didn't you pick against us on our 3-game streak? I know I picked against you for the Giants. And I don't remember about the other two games. The Giants one I did pick against you guys. So, by the way, hey, listen, in the link below, I picked every game and I picked the score prediction. I just picked the score prediction and I picked the winners. Just heads up, not against the spread. So I feel free to comment on that video with your picks and your score prediction. We'll see who does better. I've named every game. I am 0-1. I picked the Patriots Thursday. So play along, man. The video itself is about 8 minutes. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good video. In the link description below, every game. I think you picked yes I picked. Oh yes. I did pick. I picked the Packers this week too. Miami at San Francisco. Remember, Trent Williams is questionable, so if you are going to bet on this game, figure out if he's healthy, because if he's not playing, do not bet this game. 49ers are a 4-point favorite. The over-under is 46.5. If Williams plays, I like San Francisco. I wouldn't bet on them to cover 4. I would take the money line at -190. I don't like that number, so I probably wouldn't take that. The over-under 46.5. I like the under. The defense is really, really good. Did you pick the Bears? Not this week against the Lions. Probably. So maybe I did go on 3. Hey, take me on this week. Look at the video. It's in the description. Every game, I think there's 15 total. See if you can beat me. And I'm 0-1 already. So you have the 49ers. I love the under 46.5. If Williams doesn't play, don't bet this game. All right. Next up, Seattle at the Rams. The Rams are a 7-point home dog. The over-under is 41. If Stafford plays, everything's going to be affected. If he doesn't play, I think Seattle could cover 7, which is I can't believe I'm saying that. If Stafford plays, then I think the Rams cover. I don't know if they win outright. The over-under is 41. I wouldn't touch it. Bottom line, Stafford plays, take the Rams to cover. I like Seattle to win outright. If he doesn't play, Stafford doesn't play, all bets are off. But I think if Stafford plays, it's going to be a close game. So next up is the third game that I bet on. I would have bet on, and I was planning on doing it anyway, just because I think the Chiefs are going to win out. But so you know who I'm picking. Kansas City Chiefs at the Bengals. Chiefs are a 2-point favorite. This has been dropping. Was it 3? It was at 1.5 earlier. As this broadcast is going on, it went from 1.5 to 2. So there's been money on the Bengals. There's been some trash talk between the Chiefs and the Bengals, which I love. The over-under is 52.5. Do not bet the over-under. I checked the weather report earlier in the week. It's going to be like in the mid-30s. Possibility of rain, which could be freezing ice. It's a very strange dynamic. Check the weather report because if there's a difference between rain and freezing rain. By the way, between professional NFL teams, if it's cold and wet and rainy and miserable, it doesn't affect the point spread, despite a lot of people thinking it does. But 52.5 is a big number for teams that can do some good things defensively. So be careful about betting this one as far as the over is concerned. I do like Kansas City here. Again, the Bengals match up very well against Kansas City. They really do. But I do like Kansas City to avenge last year's 2 losses against the Bengals. And I really like Kansas City here. I think that they're right now the best team in the NFL. But I mean, I'm a little biased, so what do you expect? Next up, Chargers at the Raiders. Raiders are a 1-point home favorite. I can't believe I'm saying that. And over-under is 50. Chargers-Raiders always play good games. I actually like the Raiders. Earlier in the week, there's been a lot of action on the Raiders. I'm kind of surprised, but I do like the Raiders here. I think the Raiders are playing better. Chargers are banged up. I like the Raiders. I think they win 3 straight. Next up, Indianapolis at Dallas. Dallas is now a 10.5-point favorite. The over-under is 44.5. I like Dallas to win outright. The Colts will cover. This is going to be a closer game than you think. I think Jonathan Taylor may surprise people and have a big game. Don't be surprised Jonathan Taylor goes over 100 yards for you fantasy football guys. If you want to do some DraftKings sports betting, don't be surprised Jonathan Taylor has a huge game. Just a hunch. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think the Colts cover. I think the Cowboys win. Finally, Saints at Bucks. Bucks are now a 3.5-point favorite. No, they've been a 3.5. I'm sorry. Over under is 40.5. I like the under, and I like the Saints to win outright. Just flat out win. I would definitely take 3.5. It's just been a crazy division. Saints, even though they lost to the Bucks earlier, I do think they come back and win this game. I would take the Saints. My 3 bets would be in this order. Number 3 would be Kansas City. I would just take the money line. You can get negative 135. No, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Take the 2 points. Kansas City will cover 2. This is going to be a fun game. I'm leaning towards over, but with Cincinnati possibly freezing rain, you don't know. That would be number 3. Number 2 would be Tennessee to cover 4.5. I really like the Titans here. I think Titans win outright, but I do like Tennessee to cover. And my number 1 bet is Minnesota to cover 3 at home against the Jets. I think the Jets are being vastly overrated with Mike White here. It's one thing to win in the Meadowlands. It's another thing to win on the road as a backup quarterback. I really like the Vikings here. Those would be my 3 bets. But this week I'm not doing any sports betting. Probably won't till after Christmas. So, guys, I apologize. I'm like, I feel like I had to take some allergy medicine or something. I have no idea what's going on. My body is not. I'm doing some sniffles and my throat is bothering me. So I'm just kind of running out of steam here towards the finish line, and it's been about an hour and a half. It's been a great show. By the way, I should have said this earlier. If you haven't already, give me the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, share this video. The links below, I have some things here. I have some links. If you notice, my thumbnails have been improving. That's through Canva. I had no idea their affiliate program was super easy to use. It's kind of cool the way they set it up. But if you have a YouTube channel and you want to improve your thumbnails, or they have a real neat video tool that I haven't used yet, but it's kind of cool. You can 30 days free. Check it out. It's worth it. Also, you can buy me a cup of coffee. I stole that from somebody else's YouTube channel. It was just fun. I don't expect anybody to, but if you want to, buy me a cup of coffee. And finally, the third thing I'm promoting is my weekly picks video. I just picked the winners. I picked the scores. I'm hopeful that somebody that's in the description below, just go against me. See if you can beat me. I'm 0-1. No point spreads, just even up. And then, of course, if you need some gambling help, just DM me. After this show ends, my phone's going to stay off because I'm going to watch some college football. But after the USC game, I'm going to turn my phone on. And then Saturday is going to – I'm watching some college football. So when I watch college football, the phone's off. But if you need some help, you can DM me on social media. I will get back to you, but it'll be either if you DM me later tonight, I'll get back to you tonight. If you have some questions about Saturday, whether it's fantasy football related, gambling, what have you, I will get back to you. It'll be very late Saturday. It'll basically be Sunday morning. I'm going to call it Saturday night, but you can go ahead and get back to me. So if nobody has anything else, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up as I am sniffling and and my throat is starting to fade. But any final thoughts, questions, anything? I will be on for another couple of minutes if you have anything. If you don't have anything, I'm going to wrap it up and cut it off. Thank you so much. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And one other thing, if anybody has any input, I'm not going to do it this week, but for the final couple weeks of the season, I was debating on doing the Chiefs game live, doing the announcing. Something I've noticed a few other YouTube channels do where they announce the games. I thought about trying it. I'm not going to do it this week. I might do it next week. Just announce the Chiefs games. Just do it live on YouTube. I don't know if anybody want to watch me. I've never tried it before. I think it might be a lot harder. I think it's a lot harder than people think, and I might do terribly, but I've been toying around with doing it. So if you have any thoughts, suggestions, you can DM me. I'm going to wrap up. Guys, don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the way out of here. If you have anything, you can DM me. Check out my picks video. Every game, every score. And it's a cool video. I'll see you Tuesday.